Coming to you from beautiful Oxnard, the heart of Ventura County, this is Real VC, a podcast all about Ventura County real estate. My name is Reed Fish. I'm the CEO of Upmarket Media, and I'm always happy to introduce my co-host, Katie Connolly, assistant team leader at Keller Williams, West Ventura County. Katie, I think I'm energized. We want to hit it hard today. I think let's do a really good episode.
It's going to be great. So I'm excited about this one. So one thing I do love about you, Reed, is that Katie, you love to talk as much as I do. We're talkers, right? That's probably how we ended up on a podcast.
Yeah, okay.
And in searching for a guest, I was asking around. I said, who would be a great guest for our podcast? And one of my peers said, call Mr. Mathew Taylor. He loves to talk. And I said, we're bringing him in.
Right.
So welcome, Matt.
Yeah, and Mathew Taylor, who is a realtor at eXp Realty. And so Mathew, I know you had a question right off the bat.
I do. So Mathew, you are one half of Team Taylor. As soon as you walked in, we were like, we should have had the other half here. So who is the other half of your team?
Well, the other half of my team is my son, Brandon Taylor, who is a dynamic young realtor. He's 26 years old, and we thoroughly enjoy working together. He's like definitely my right arm, but
I love that. So I feel like in business in years prior, we've kind of been turned off by, or not turned off, but like discouraged from working with family, right? Never work with family, never lend your family money. But there's a ton of husband-wife teams, father-son teams, sister teams in real estate that have been very successful. So how do you like working with family? And have you heard never work with family?
I've absolutely heard never work with family, but I can proudly say that all three of my sons have real estate licenses. And at one point we were all four working together as one large team.
That's amazing.
So yeah, it's been great. There's always ups and downs to that because when you also have the role of father and then you live in the same house, then there can be some dynamics that maybe like we work together, we're always together, we need a little bit of time apart. Mm-hmm. And so, but you just delineate your roles when you need that. But I thought it was important because I had been social worker, as I mentioned earlier, I had been a social worker for 20 years. And, you start as an entry level, you're in a cubicle and, that whole rigmarole of 20 years of working for something like that. And so I told my children, I want something different for you. So whether you want to work in real estate or not, when you're 18, I want you to get a real estate license. Even if you just do it for a year, you'll make some good money and you will also understand contracts. You'll understand interest rates. You'll understand what sales is being sold by somebody else as well. Mm-hmm. And you won't be, I'm saying this in a nice way, you won't be ignorant to things. I've seen people sign contracts not knowing the difference between a 10% interest rate and a 6% interest rate and just say, oh, it doesn't seem like much, yeah. And they sign or they don't understand the longevity of a contract or the importance of really reading a contract. I think it's important for anybody to understand finances and contracts. And so
for sure. And wealth building, right?
Oh,
like
exactly.
At 18, I didn't know, like buying a house sounded like the craziest thing that other people do, not me. So that's great that you taught your kids at a young age.
Yeah. That's a really interesting angle. I've never heard anyone say that. Oh, I just, you did say, I think I made my kids get a real estate license.
Yeah, I made them.
That's pretty hardcore. Yeah. But then you backed it up with all the reasons like, man, well, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, I don't have a real estate license. Maybe I should get one.
Yes. Well, here's something interesting. My middle son, Austin, who is now 29 years old. So he did that for 1 year. After a year, this was in Arizona, he had like $25,000 in the bank. He decided to join the Navy, but through real estate, understanding conversations and objections and interacting with people, he entered the Navy and last year, at 9 years in the Navy, became a chief, which usually takes someone, 14 or 50, if they even become a chief. So he's in San Diego now. So he attributes a lot of that to being a little bit more educated and understanding how to have conversations and work hard.
Well, yeah. And you get that work ethic and then you have the sales component and just and as everyone always says, we've said it 100 times on here, it's a relationship business. And I think so many businesses are relationship businesses, or maybe, life is. And I think if you can I think some people have like a natural charisma, but then if you just, and maybe you have that or you don't have that, to get out there and cultivate it in a different way in a sales role, especially at that young age, that will get you so far. If you can just walk into a room and know you can talk to anybody, that's power right there.
Yeah, definitely. And they purchased homes young and they understand appreciation and equity and all that. So I think that attributes to them being in the business so young. They have a better,
And it shows you what else is out there, right? Like I helped clients early on in my business that bought, very expensive homes, and you spend so much time with them and you get to hear their story. Like, how did they build their wealth? Like what makes this area desirable for them? Because, this is where their career path is, or whatever that may be. And it just broadened my world to so many different things that are out there that I never knew about.
Yeah, most definitely. And we started our business in Arizona, in Prescott, which is a small town that gets a lot of retiring people, a lot from California. So my son's team members also had a lot of interaction with retired age people and understanding those dynamics and what they're looking for. And so they have a better understanding of how to work with the older generation as well, and how to have conversations that they can relate to.
Right.
That's a good skill.
Oh, wow. And so you're working with Brandon now. And so how long have you been just the two of you?
5 years.
5 years.
Yeah.
All right.
When we moved back here, my older son, Giancarlo, he decided, he worked for a real estate company for a while, Realty One Group here. He worked for them doing marketing and stuff like that. And then he took a job with another company in sales, and he's doing really well there. Non-real estate.
But he still lives local?
Yeah, he still lives local, yeah.
But it's going well. I mean,
it's going really well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it because we just have that dynamic, of what our, like Katie mentioned earlier too, about delineating roles when you're on a team, who does this, who does that. So we do a lot of things together, but then we definitely do things separate as well. He understands his role, and I understand mine, but we work really well together.
Mm-hmm. Well, awesome. I feel like what I think is kind of an interesting dynamic for the two of you is like, if you move back to Ventura County 5 years ago, right? You're kind of starting from scratch.
Exactly.
Right. So you could have had a big business in Prescott, but then what are you going to do here? Those clients aren't going to be here. Because what I've seen on kind of the father, mother, daughter, son teams is like, the parent is the rainmaker, right? They've been doing it for 30 years, and they have all the clients, and it's just like boom, 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 boom. And the kids just running around doing admin stuff. Yeah. Well, not just, but
unlocking doors.
And they're going in, and basically they're like, hey, we've built this big business. We have all these clients, and I don't want to work forever. You can come in and kind of, work up to taking over the business. But that doesn't sound like how you have had to do it, because you weren't able to make it rain maybe when you got here in quite the same way, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Although when I left working for the county, and I was a director of a job and career center, so I had a big sphere of influence with the county. And when I was with the county, I also was on the educational committee. So there were 7,000 county employees at that time, and pretty much a lot of them knew me because I was writing articles for our newsletter, Education and Training. So I had a lot of sphere and other people in social work. So I had that, but but my sons, because my wife she has 13 brothers and sisters. Oh, so my son actually here in Ventura County has 120 first cousins, because they're all married with married, who married. So he taps into that, and then friends of them, friends of their friends. So that's how he builds that sphere. And then I just tap into my old sphere.
That's really smart. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah.
The sphere is the secret sauce, right? But it's not so secret. We were talking about that on the last episode, and it's a common theme. People want to work with who they know, love, and trust. For sure.
Yes, exactly. And, sphere and database, right? Keller Williams is really big on calling your database, right? Isn't it DD14 or what do they call that? Yeah. So yeah, it's important in connecting with your sphere too, not just saying I have them in my database, but now that you have them in your database, how are you interacting with them, right? How are you tapping into that and making them think of you at the forefront of their mind when they're thinking of buying or selling real estate, or they hear somebody else saying, I'm thinking of buying and selling real estate.
For sure.
Well, so you really are kind of to go back to, what the roles are in the team. It almost sounds like you're both bringing in business rather, on more or less evenly. You don't have to break it down, but that's a whole different dynamic then. Yeah. Well, and it gives Brandon a little more power on the team too, right? So,
definitely. Yeah. And you'll be not surprised to know, but he actually writes the contracts for us. So I oversee them, but he writes them. He is like an expert on contracts, especially with the difficult forms in terms of like, contingency and replacement properties, how to make sure you're checking the right boxes that protect your seller, not just getting into a contract, but closing on the contract. So all that stuff that's important when you're overseeing a contract. So he loves contracts and writing them. And so I just say, go ahead and do it. And then I look at it and say, wow, pretty impressed. Thank you. Approved. Yeah.
Stamp of approval.
Yeah, stamp of approval.
Oh, yeah.
Submit it.
Yeah. Right. Wow. You're working hard there on the
Yeah.
That's good. Well, that's what I like doing. I just like, these look great. send these photos off.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome. So in addition to all of that wonderful stuff that you just said, another thing that interests me about you is that I know you are heavy into education and teaching.
Yes.
So why do you do that? Why do you volunteer your time to new agents? What does that do?
Well, I love it. So I got to tell you, as a social worker for 20 years, I really feel like I love helping people. So I was a trainer for the county of Ventura on a lot of different aspects. And I became a trainer for UC Davis, training other social workers. And I was very effective at that. So I had a big calling or kind of a demand. I'm not going to pat myself on the back, but a lot of counties in California would say, we want you to send Mathew Taylor on this topic. We want him to train. So when I lived in Arizona, I helped build a company. Everybody kept saying, will you be our real estate trainer? And I said, yes. And then I ended up getting a call from the Arizona School of Real Estate and Business. And they said, we would like you to be our trainer too. I go, well, I work full time in real estate, but I started training the pre-licensing classes to get agents licensed. And then I started training the broker classes to get people from a license to a broker license, and the broker clinics and broker renewals. So I did that for a long time over there. And I enjoyed that because I actually love seeing people come in, and you saw the same kind of dynamics in social work. People come in, they want a better life. So single mothers or people that had a career that they had to work because they couldn't leave, they couldn't afford to leave. And now they have an ability, I want to get into real estate. Sometimes they're working full time saying, I can't do this job anymore. I want to get into real estate. I'm going to start on the weekends. And I love seeing that excitement in them. And I thought, well, let me help you, because there's so many hurdles when you're beginning in real estate. I say, you know what? You only need to jump over this one, that one, and that one. There's 18 over there, but you really don't need to jump over all 18. Yeah. Take them bites by bites, one hurdle at a time. And then once you're rocking and rolling and you understand the business, then you're rocking and rolling. You're making some good money, and then you get to live the life that you want to live. So I enjoy helping people. And it's funny, you mentioned earlier about you guys like to talk. I also love that. And so when I was younger, a role model might say, well, what do you really like doing? I go, what are you good at? I go, you know what? I'm really good at talking. Who talks a lot? Trainers and teachers. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. So that is one of the reasons I do that. But I'm also assisting, like she mentioned, with the new agent orientation here at Ventura County, at the Ventura County Coastal of Realtors, who I got to give a plug for them. I think they're one of the best associations that I've been with many before. They're really dynamic. They've got a great board. They've got great committees. So I'm helping orientate the new agents, and I love getting them excited and teaching them the way.
That's awesome. Much needed for sure.
Yeah. And so I'm really hearing that there's a lot of personal fulfillment in this, but do you think it also helps you grow your own personal real estate business?
I do. I think when you're teaching, you're also learning, because things come up and you learn things that maybe you didn't concentrate on or focus on. Say, oh, that's something I needed to learn. But it does help me in our own business as well.
Keeps you sharp, right?
Keeps me
sharp as a tack.
But like Keller Williams, we have a similar dynamic with EXP and Keller Williams. We attract agents because there's a revenue share and a profit share program to both different brokerages, so that if we can grow our organization that way. I'm not trying to do that when I'm doing what I'm doing, but
right. It's not a recruitment center.
It's not a recruitment setting.
Yeah.
Honestly, here, I really find that in Ventura County, especially, that realtors, even across brokerages, help each other and they work really closely together. It's a huge collaboration. So that's one of the things. You find your place.
Yeah. It's so nice to be able to be like, man, my client likes your listing, but he doesn't know if he wants to write on it. Give me the deets. Should we do it or not? Yeah. And he's like, no, Katie, there's 15 offers. Like, I have a solid one right now. It's not going to happen. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. I have a question that's very timely as we go into the second half of the year. How are you planning on pivoting your business with working with buyers for the next half of the year, and then obviously going forward?
Because you might have heard there's a settlement.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Rules changing.
Yeah. And it's really interesting because we've had those conversations even last night when it came to commission with one of our current clients. And another one of my current clients, we have 3 in escrow right now, works for Realtor.com. She's not a realtor, but she supports a large team at Realtor.com. So I was kind of honored that she actually called me. And so she had that conversation. Well, I know about the lawsuit, when it goes to here, about the commissions. And so it's really about educating them. And I really do tell them. And what's great now, honestly, is that we have some data and it's pretty new. And I've seen some other videos where other realtors are speaking out about it. There's a really big guy with Keller Williams back east. His name is Michael, Zincosa. I'll get the name again. But he was on the news, interviewed about that. And he said how he thinks it's a detriment to buyers and sellers because it's hurting, buyers' ability to buy, especially veterans or people with FHA loans. So it's pretty much educating them. And then we have some data where at one of the real estate meetings here locally, a realtor brought in and said, "Hey, I'm relaunching this listing we had. We actually, our seller wanted to only offer 0 apples. Yeah, 0 apples. And had no showings, no interest in the property. And then when he decided to change and offer 2 apples, then they started getting showings. And so it's because buyers really are the driving force.
Right.
It's not agents
apples
deciding.
Or percentage points.
Yeah, it's not the agents deciding what we show you. It's, hey, we have a buyer broker in place, buyer broker agreement where you're committed to pay me my professional fee. And this listing is not paying that. So, and they say, I don't want to see it because I don't have the money to pay you. So they choose, not us. Right. But also just educating them on the realities of the market.
Right. Well,
yes.
Yeah. Okay. More of that settlement talk. That always breaks my brain. Like and there's too many unknowns. So you know what? Let's just take a little break. We're going to do our social media sidebar. Then we're going to come with some marketing talk with Mathew, and then we're going to end, of course, with our action items. We'll be right back.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right, social media sidebar time. And first, before we get into social media, come on. We have our YouTube channel, which is technically social media. So, subscribe to this podcast, subscribe to the Upmarket Media YouTube channel. We have the sub channel for the podcast. And then also on your podcast app of choice. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can also listen to it over the airwaves. If you're listening to it on your podcast app of choice, you can also watch it on YouTube. So on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, go ahead and find Real VC, download it, rate it, review it, subscribe, right?
I think we can ask Alexa too.
Oh, yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah.
Didn't even think about
I'm
that.
gonna try
It's
that
on
when I
Amazon.
get back home.
Yeah. So, but Katie, where are we finding you on social media?
So on Instagram, you can find me at katie.connolly.realtor. You can find me at Katie Connolly on Facebook and Instagram.
All right. And then we're Upmarket Media across all, upmarket.media across all social media. Mathew, if I'm online, if I'm on my phone, where am I seeing you?
You are going to find us at taylorrealestateconsultants.com, or you're going to, same thing on Instagram and the same thing on Facebook, Taylor Real Estate Consultants.
All right.
Like it easy.
So, debrief us on your social media strategy, if you don't mind.
Well, we use Facebook, and so that's what I enjoy, Facebook, and then I interact with a lot of my sphere locally, and then my son runs our Instagram channel, and I believe he has LinkedIn.
Yeah, it really breaks down among the age demographics, right?
Yeah, yes, definitely.
That tracks.
Yeah, and then we have a YouTube channel. My son has done some videos. So we have the YouTube channel as well. I've done some. He's done some. And then my older son, who used to work in business with us, kind of edits our videos for us.
Oh, nice. That's good. That's good.
Well, we're going to have some great stuff for you to put on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
there you go.
exactly.
Yeah. And so, but are you finding then, is Facebook are you getting business from Facebook?
I actually do. Yeah. I was strategic about like who I Facebook friend and stuff like that, and then making the right comments at the right time. And you can join different groups, right? And then talk about the interest of what that group is. But every once in a while, if you, for instance, I always feel too that if somebody says that was an interesting comment, who is this guy? And they click on my profile, then they'll see that I'm a real estate agent. I have some great videos on my Facebook page that'll talk about the market. It'll also show what listings we have, and they say, "Oh, this guy's a realtor. He sounds pretty intelligent from his videos. I like and trust him." So I use that a lot.
Right. Always coming from a place of teaching, right? Instead of just saying, "Me, I can help you. Me, I can help you." It sounds like you're really giving value, which is important.
Yeah, I mean that's what we. I mean that's we do a podcast, and the whole podcast we just try to give value to people. I mean that's the whole point of it, right? Yeah. So, and then that's how you expand your sphere.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So in addition to that, do you pay for ads on any social platforms?
It's really interesting because we recently did pay for an ad on Facebook, and I was kind of disappointed in all the spam we got from that ad. And I know some big agents nationwide, and I was reading the post that, they got hacked, their Facebook got hacked, and somebody was marketing using their Facebook account and billing information, and they couldn't undo it. They were asking, does anybody know anybody at Facebook? How do you is there a phone number? And people were saying no. So I started thinking, so when you put a sponsored ad out there, I was going to have this conversation with Facebook if I could, or give a review on my last ad. there's too much spam because it's coming from overseas. We could tell they were saying your photo is copyrighted violation. I'm like, it's a photo of me.
Right.
I know it's not copyright violation. So it was stuff like that. But we do Facebook ads. They've worked in the past, it gets people clicking on you and then going to your page. And then from your page, that's where they learn to like and trust you based on the added value videos and information you put out.
But do you think, we talk about, like I said, sphere of influence, and you sound like you have a huge sphere of influence and database, which is amazing. Would you think that like pay-per-click ads and stuff like that would be better for somebody that maybe doesn't have such a big database?
Well, there's some things in Facebook. There's some things like if they put a cookie on it and it starts following them, and they're like, this guy every time I look at something new, this guy's there's the Google ads. Yeah, it's Mathew Taylor there. One of our partners, Jose Luis Morales, is big on that, so his things pop up all the time. So it is effective. I think if people see you, then they say, they're so used to seeing your image out there somehow. So it's really helpful. Yeah, but I think
I have one realtor that I know who is in my Facebook feed constantly with their ads.
Is it me?
No, it is not. No, it is not. I'm not going to say who it is, but it's like, and which is fine, but it is interesting how I just get this one and I'm friends with a bunch of realtors on Facebook, or I should be in the demographic where, that I'm going to get targeted with those ads, and I'm only seeing ads for one particular realtor. So, it is interesting. So I've never seen one of yours.
Yeah.
Matthew.
Now you will. We put it into the metaverse.
Put it into the universe.
Yes, exactly. All right. Well, okay. I want to talk more, not about social media. I want to talk more about marketing. We'll do that in our marketing segment next, and then we're going to end with action items. We'll be right back. All right, we are back here with Mathew Taylor of eXp Realty. And Mathew, what else are you doing for marketing? So we got the sphere of influence, we got Facebook. What do you have another big strategy that you're using?
I do mailers. And one of our more recent mailers, we did killing two birds with one stone, where we said just listed this one. We had two listings. One was just listed, one is already in escrow. And then we threw in a QR code that said, scan this for a $50 giveaway for a Father's Day gift card for Father's Day, which then if they scan that, it'll go to a Google Sheet, enter their data. So we'll be able to collect their data and then add them into our database and then send a monthly newsletter. So a monthly newsletter is something that we do. And then we also send out marketing cards, mailers, but we also door knock, and we'll pass out informational flyers, especially in the area that we farm, because we have a farm area, more than one. And then interestingly enough, this escrow that we have, we sold a house that has a contingency that our sellers have a replacement property. They get to purchase a property, and they wanted us in Oak Park, California, by the special school district. So we actually door knocked that neighborhood and left flyers saying we call it Keller Williams. I have a lot of friends there. It's called the Golden Letter. And so you say, hey, we have clients, Vishal and Annika, who are wanting to move in this area. If you are considering selling, please reach out to us. And we ended up finding them a home that way.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
And that's an elevated level of service too.
Definitely.
So they're not going to forget your name.
Right.
Yeah, they'll remember you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then, so on your monthly newsletter, do you send that out via email or print mail too?
Via email.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we send that email, and it has a lot of like national data, but we also include like local events that are happening and some local market data. And then if we have current listings that aren't already in escrow, we'll say, here are two of our listings if you know anybody that's thinking of buying in this area.
Do you ever do video email or video text, any of that kind of stuff?
I'm doing a little bit of that because, it's important. The great thing with Instagram, you can do all those things like with the green screen and all of that. But I think what's real important too, a lot of people will leave a comment on your Facebook page, happy birthday. But I think it's important to also send a quick video like through Messenger, like, hey, I just wanted to say happy birthday to you, a special day. I think it stands out a little bit more. And
it's nice.
Yeah. So that helps. And then I actually have, I'm trying to do this with, like, I've had this one friend of mine for 40 years here. She's a pretty well-known hairdresser. And so on her workstation, she has my business cards and stuff. So I do pop-bys, and I'll bring her a sparkling water with an avocado or sparkling with something at least once a week. And she just promotes me. She'll comment me on Facebook. So little things like that, you're doing a lot because you're sustaining that relationship as a caring person. And then they're also getting people to think of you when they hear somebody say they're going to buy real estate.
It sounds really genuine too. You're not like, oh, I have to go pick up an avocado today. Like if that's, you're like, no, this is like genuinely, it made me think of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know what's interesting too, because there's little things you can do that really don't take that much time. So I had went to a funeral at the Santa Clara Cemetery, and I know my friend, this girl, Sherry, the hairstylist, both her parents had passed away a few years ago. So I went to their little gravesite, and it had kind of been overgrown. So I took a picture of it and I cleaned it up. I got some flowers and put them there. And then I sent her a picture. Hey, I cleaned up your parents' gravestone a little bit. And she was like, oh my God. So she told her brother, and next time, and her brother was a Major League Baseball player that lives locally, and he's connected to a lot of the other ones that are kind of retired in our area. So, I think I don't do that. I do it because I cared about her. I knew her parents too, but then it's like, they talk about me, and it's he's just more than a realtor. He really does care about us, and he's a good person, but let's send him referrals.
Yeah. On our last show, our guest talked about going kind of above and beyond and executing at a high level. So that's, sounds like that's kind of the secret sauce as well, right?
Well,
people that do a good job and they're good humans.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, the more service you can provide. I mean, come on. I mean, it's true in our market media business. I mean, it's true in anything, right? If you try to, and really it's almost just exceeding expectations, right? If the expectations are low, well, good, you don't have that far to go. But when they're high, then you have to really, really go the extra mile.
Right. And everybody knows this saying, it's so well known. People don't care how much you know until they care how much you care. And once then they really love and respect you. And I also think I'm 61. And I also think as you get older, things change a little bit in dynamics. Of course, I work in real estate for income, but I do get a retirement from the county working there so long. So I'm not tied to a commission check all the time. Right. So I'm not a scared real estate agent, always trying to fish business. I want to make money, of course, and build wealth and have a nest egg so I can retire happily. But
I have a feeling you're never going to retire.
I don't know. I do care about people. I really do think that it's just easy to be friendly. I think kindness and human kindness goes a long way for everybody when you're building relationships. And this business is building relationships, not just from potential clients, but from people who know potential clients.
It's pretty spot on.
Yeah. I think that's good. Let's, what? I love that. So let's move on and let's do some action items.
Here we go.
So, all right. Action items. Katie, let's hear it. What do you got for us?
So today, I think Mathew kind of touched on it, but today my action item is define your value. So really, So really think, what is valuable about Katie Connolly or Reed Fish or Mathew Taylor or any of our listeners out there? Define it and then keep that as uniquely you and how it's going to make you succeed.
Yeah. All right. I love it. Okay, Katie, I got a simple one this time. I mean, and I love the simple action items. I want a realtor to solicit a review from one of their happy clients.
That's a good one.
Because I think we've been at Upmarket, we've been actually implementing kind of asking for reviews from people. And actually, after every shoot, we're now sending a text to say, hey, did everything go all right? Give us a thumbs up or thumbs down. And I think we've gotten everyone is thumbs up, right? And we've gotten 1 or 2 thumbs down. And then that alerts you, oh, okay, what happened? And you go, and then oh, okay, what was this? And okay, well, yeah, we'll rectify that or whatever. So it's actually really great to have that feedback. But then it follows up with hey, can you have, if you have time and you had a great experience, do you mind going to our Google My Business page and leaving a review? And our reviews on Google My Business have doubled. And so it's and I think that's that social proof. And it's, so it's a really powerful when someone that you have gone above and beyond for is able to say that. And so, to give you that validation online.
Take time out of their day.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. So I think, reviews are so important for people. So, and if you ask for it, you're more likely to get it. So just ask one person for a review.
Love it. Last but not least,
I agree
Mathew, what do you have for our listeners?
I would challenge them to also get a video testimonial because reviews on video are great, and then post them on your Facebook page. So but my suggestion, I would say, is just what I mentioned earlier is just create a video for a happy birthday, or if you've seen someone on Facebook where somebody graduated or whatever, send a video to that person. Hey, I just saw your post about your son graduating. That is so awesome. Congratulations. So whatever it is you see on Facebook, send at least 5 videos one day. Just say, I'm going to send 5 today. And if you really make that a habit, 5 a day times, 7, that's 42 a week, right? So if you can do it 5 a day, really help build your spirit and your likability and trustability.
All right. Yeah, that's
I can't wait for the listeners to send Matthew a video. Great job on the podcast.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Well, thank you, Matthew. Thank you for being here. That was a great conversation. Katie, of course, thank you. Reed, thank you, of course.
Thank you, Reed.
Yeah. And then thank you, of course, to our listeners. We love our listeners, and thank you for all the great feedback we've been getting. We're so excited to keep doing this podcast. And so we will be back on a Tuesday. Is it going to be next Tuesday? Is it going to be 2 Tuesdays? I don't know. It might be next Tuesday. I don't know. Let's just keep checking your phone.
Sounds good. Thank you, guys.
Thank you both.
Real VC is a production of Upmarket Studios. This episode was produced by Chelsea Froelich and edited by Bethany Diedrich. We'll be back shortly with a brand new episode, but in the meantime, we hope that all your transactions will be smooth. Thank you for everything.